Podcast.
Welcome in, you cheap beggars, to Discount, the bargain gaming podcast hosted by three hosts so small that if they were a constellation, they'd be the Southern Cross.
Oh.
But to get to the crux of the episode, because that's the other name for it.
Good, very good. Like that.
Come along and jump into my anus as I turn into a bus because I'm just a cat. My name's Josh, I'm plugging into Player 2.
Being ahead, going into the last turn, landing on chance time, giving away all my stars and throwing myself out of a third floor window, I'm Darren. Hi. And the winner in all our hearts.
I'm a bioterrorist and I'm coming at my husband with a chainsaw. It's Karis.
Yeah, but what's your intro?
I'm really sorry. I really wasn't expecting to jump into my anus.
I deliberately stopped because I thought it'd get Karis, and it did get Karis. She got overly excited. I don't know what's going on. But yes, hello everyone and welcome into another episode of Discount, and it's our final episode of the season.
Ooh.
Woo! This is month 12.
Yeah.
So episode 12 of our fighting, and it's more episodes than that, but we're here. Yeah. We're here to work out who has lost, not who has won, but who has lost. So we're going to be doing things a little bit differently because we don't have any games to really discuss. But we'll break into that after we do what we need to do, which is clean up all the mess from the season and find out which is going to be our final vault game.
Ooh.
So should we open the door and get inside the vault?
Get your pocket gravel ready, boy.
Look at him. I can't believe you shat that door open.
Yeah.
That it started off as a growl and descended into farts so quickly.
Yeah, that's like my life. Yeah.
What obviously, as we're not filming this one, what you couldn't see was Darren was limbering up before that in case he pulled something. I don't know.
The deep inhale of breath ready as well.
I had to prep myself.
Shoulder
the last
loosening,
one.
Shoulder loosening.
Had to. I'm that unfit that I could make a sound and pull every muscle in my body.
What I feel bad is that you did all that hard work and she did nothing to help you.
You made me laugh.
No,
man.
what I feel bad is I made all that effort and I'm going to then cut out all that sound to put the actual music over it.
No, keep that. Keep it as is. But yes, we're here. We're in the vault. We're here to do the last game of the season. So the last one we entered, and it's for the weird mechanics episode, which, if we're being honest, was a very strong, very strong episode.
So probably one of our strongest ones.
I would say Borderlands 2, Persona 5, and Death Stranding.
Strong. Yep.
All very good games. They all have very strong followings, their own individual ones, and that is very much the case when you look at the voting. It actually, everyone received the same votes, bar one, which had one extra vote.
All right.
Which is a shock.
Is that the closest that we've had in voting?
Between all three games, it's the closest we've had. Because we've had games where it's been one vote decides it between number one and number two, but then the bottom one has got nothing.
It's been 10-9-0, but it's rarely been this.
So yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, for your opinions, for you guys, which do you think is the best game that should have gone in the vault?
Of that week, I'd say Persona is the best game.
I think if I was going to vote, it would be Persona for me.
I mean, Persona was the one I would have gone for as well, but it's not what the public went for. Okay. They decided that Death Stranding deserved to go in the vault.
Wow.
Why?
I can completely understand why certain people would want it.
I get it, but why?
Weirdly enough, I know we all did vote on the thing, but we were one of the biggest pushers for Persona 5. Persona 5 could easily have finished bottom by a long way for voting.
Our audience is weird. Still love you guys.
I think it's more just that, again, they're all... I mean, Death Stranding's a niche game, Persona 5's a niche game, Borderlands 2 is a far more open game where you're going to get more people just I remember playing Borderlands 2, I like that. But Death Stranding you can bounce off of, or you go into and love it. Persona 5 you can bounce off of or go in and love it. So you're gonna get them, aren't you? So our last game to enter is Death Stranding. So Josh actually gets one game in the vault for the entire season.
That's clearly the reason it went in.
Yeah, I fixed it. I made about 6 fake accounts.
No, people are looking at it going, "Oh, Josh hasn't had one." It's justifiable.
We'll just toss him a pity.
Wait, are you the accounts that are sending me sugar daddy requests in my DMs?
No, I'm not.
Are you the one sending me those?
I am the one sending Darren those.
I see.
Yes,
got it.
I know who the favourite is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for him to send me stuff first, so it's all blackmail. It's all blackmail.
Oh, see, that's how I know it's not you. He's the ones I get. Don't ask me for nudes. The ones you get.
Yeah, they do.
Oh no, I asked for bank details.
In exchange for nudes.
The nudes he's sending aggressively on his own.
It's like, pay me to look at them. I'm like, yeah, fucking alright.
Is that you sending nudes, or is that a different mime you're doing? Okay, alright. But yes, that is it. That's us done with the vault, really. So should we close it up?
Yeah.
And seal it off ready before we get to season 3.
Yeah.
Let's seal it and then move into the episode as what we are doing.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't give you much time to try and close the door, though.
No, I can't remember what they're called. The things in Death Stranding where, like, the bodies explode, like the big sort of explosions. The void out? Is that
the
what they're
void
called?
outs.
There was one of those that blew all the gravel away.
Oh,
so the door
yeah.
just closed nice and easy.
This is the smoothest closing we've ever
And
had.
then a whale fell on us.
Yeah.
A black and key whale.
The void out also exploded Blood Bowl 2, like, into the wall.
Yes.
Good. It's what it deserves.
Lovely. So what we're going to be doing today is slightly different. We haven't played any new games for this episode because it's meant to be just a reflection on what we have done for the whole year. So what we are going to do is we have all decided to pick a game for each of the categories. We're trying to avoid duplicates, but we'll probably do it. Me and Darren have selected 3 different games for each category to try and make sure there wasn't any duplicates here, and Karis, being her usual self, just picked one for each because she thinks she's a princess.
Yep, I'm happy with what I got, and that's
we
again.
want to keep competition in our non-competitive episodes.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. No one's getting any points for this one. It's just which do we think was the most accurate game of the year? What do we think was the most entertaining, most valuable for money? We aren't really doing a play of the game, but we're just going to have a little reflection over what's happened. You know, like a clip show almost, but not really a clip show.
It's like a mini vault on top of the actual vault. That we put like the season winners in.
Yes, these are our own little individual sort of thoughts for it. And then we're going to go through our favourite games of the season, our least favourite games of the season, and then we will reveal the actual loser and winner at the end of it, and then pull our category ready for season 3 to start this all again, because we're hoping to have less of a gap between season 2 and season 3 than we did between season 1 and season 2.
On the plus side, and I say this because it was actually a year ago today that I was announced as the host for the season,
nice.
which is really sweet. And I'm not planning on leaving.
That's a plus.
So
you're not going to Sweden.
I'm
You're not going to a Scandinavian.
No.
Also
Only in
known
my head.
as hell, as we've discussed many parts. We decided it was the end of it.
We did. I was like, when do we? But we did, yeah.
We did.
I also was like,
That's very bold for me to say.
yeah.
But yeah, so we've got lots of games to sort of look through and stuff. I actually think we can't really go, what do we think about selecting for these options here? So should we just jump straight into the battle that we're doing for no real fighting, but just to get through? We are aware this is probably going to be quite a short episode comparatively, but some of you might prefer it, and if that's the case, don't get used to it.
Round 1, fight!
That music was so sudden it caught me off guard.
I was going to say, I was literally about to say, why did that make me jump? Like, why did that make me jump?
So yeah, we'll be ignoring that and pretending that I wasn't, just being very aggressive with my sound effects.
It's because I'm so used to that section being like
Massively
massive
longer,
while we talk about the games. But no, it's like, we're going to talk about some games. Fight!
Yeah, so we're going to do most accurate, then value for money, then we're going to move on to most entertaining.
Yeah,
in these, we've got a selection of games. I think what we'll do is we'll announce our games that we're going to choose to champion. We have a little talk about games we thought about for that category, and then we can focus in on the games we're going to do, because I know me and Darren have a couple of extras for each category. I know you don't, Karis, so you get to choose whatever.
You get to go first.
You get to go first. So, Karis, when you were thinking about most accurate game this season, what episode was it for first?
To be honest with you, most accurate is the one that I struggled with the most, because some of our categories are, like, insane. Like, I didn't feel like I could pick one for, like, the letters of our names, for example, because there's not one among them that is inaccurate.
They're all technically accurate.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a hard one to argue, so I didn't choose
So I'll be honest with you, I went for one that I thought all 3 of them were accurate in their own ways. So I picked the religion episode.
Okay.
And I actually picked Cult of the Lamb.
Cool.
You picked Cult of the Lamb. That wasn't in my
Wasn't
top
in my list
3.
either. No.
Darren, I will let you go second. I'll let
Okay.
you because obviously it's going to be. I'll go next for value for money. I'll go first for value for money then. Sorry.
Mine felt like
A cheat.
the clear choice here because there was one that was so accurate it bordered on lazy. It's from Cooking. It's
Now,
Cooking Mama.
Let me tell you now, that was the reason why I didn't pick Cooking Mama, because I was like, I can't just pick Cooking
But you
Mama.
can't get more accurate.
I'll be honest. Cooking Mama was on my list as well.
Yeah.
The one I'm going to go for is from our fight episode.
Okay, yeah,
And
I
I'm
get
going
that.
for Marvel vs.
I
Capcom
get that.
3
Yeah.
because it had no story. It was just fight.
Yeah.
What other ones did you have on your list that weren't selected then,
Okay,
Darren?
my other two on my list were Stardew Valley,
That's
just
really
because
good.
it's what you think of when you think of life sims, and I also had Sonic Generations because in the same regard that we picked the Tomb Raider game.
Non-human.
Yes. Not in the same regard as last season when we did female protagonists, we picked Tomb Raider as the most accurate because Lara Croft is the seminal female
You think
protagonist.
the same with
Yeah.
Sonic is who you think of when you think of a non-human protagonist. So I thought that was the most accurate for that category.
The only one that I didn't mention that I had on my three-person shortlist was the Talus principle for non-first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Because it was first-person and there is no shooting at all in
Yeah.
that game.
I was between one category, but between two that I was in an line about was the anime category, because I thought Ni no Kuni and Digimon were
They could've
pretty
been,
accurate
yeah.
to their...
I mean, I would have gone for the other one in that
Fist of the
episode,
North Star.
which is based on an anime.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, shit, yeah.
That was
I
a
wish-
good episode.
I wish you had
accuracy.
chosen that one because it was chosen wrong in that category because we'd have definitely won in this argument.
Yeah.
So, Karis, Religion, Cult of the Lamb. Why is it the
Yeah.
most accurate game this year?
I think it was the fact that you are active in creating a religion is what got me. You were an active part in recruiting people into the religion, into creating that religion, into making sure that you fostered an environment which benefited that religion for your own personal gain, of course.
So like a religion.
Yeah. And I just think it was accurate to, rather than in the other games where you are kind of going on missions and worshipping a god, you were cultivating a religion in itself. And I
Yeah.
thought that was accurate to the category.
Definitely.
It wasn't just about religion; it was
A religion. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was, and I mean, although you aren't creating the religion as such because there is a god there
Yeah.
that you are working on
You
behalf
are
of.
spreading the
You are spreading the message.
message.
So yeah, it's
You're
that,
still technically creating the religion. You're not creating
Yeah,
a
yeah.
deity, but
It
you're
was
creating the
very,
religion surrounding it.
you know, Waco with lambs.
Yeah.
Is it only because you've just watched a documentary on Waco and didn't know much about Waco
Very
beforehand?
good.
Yeah.
But
Shout out to
no,
Waco.
I genuinely
Shout
think
out
that's
to
a-
Waco.
Shout out to Waco. Yep. Yeah.
I don't think we try and encourage that sort
No.
of
I'm
I'm not
activity.
encouraging it. Giving it a shout out.
But no, I just thought it was, the whole thing of trying to cultivate that environment.
Cultivate.
due to religion.
Yeah.
Okay, you see what I did there?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Fair
thought
enough.
it was
I
very
think-
accurate.
To be honest, I think it did most accurate for religion
It
game.
did.
Yeah,
It
it
did,
did because
yeah.
we decided it was making a religion rather than being part
All of
it.
mine on my list were ones that won
Yeah,
that category
same.
in the original episode.
Same for what I did as well.
It
but
felt
yeah.
weird to not.
Yeah. I mean, if they didn't, then you go. I'm definitely not going to win this last argument.
I think mine were as well, actually.
Yeah, I think Cult of the Lamb's a really good shout for religion in
A
general.
couple of
I
mine
mean,
I've actually not.
it deserved to win that episode.
Yeah.
It deserved to win all of this. Probably not. I'll go next because
Okay.
I know where Cooking is coming in.
Yeah.
But Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I think, is such an obvious choice for fight. It is literally two people beat 'em. It's that classic idea. It's not sort of an actual beat 'em up through. It's a two-person fighting on screen, but that's all it is. And it's got characters who are known for fighting, different fighting abilities, and that's all it's for. I'm not going to sing its praises because it didn't work for me, but I do genuinely think it is the quintessential fight game, and it's a game that a lot of people still go back to and go, "This is what fighting
As a
games
fight
are."
game goes,
yeah,
yeah.
like but that's what it is. You go Marvel vs. Capcom 3, people go, "Oh, I loved that game. It was like this is what got me onto
Yeah.
it. This is what fighting is," and it was the combos. And I don't know why it's the one that got on there because I mean, I would say Mortal Kombat and Tekken and Street
Yeah.
Fighter have obviously outlasted it. So obviously but for what this is, you can't go wrong with
No.
that. I mean, no one's going to talk any more about it because nobody liked it.
No. I'm going to argue mine in sort of respectively to the other two.
Go for it.
In terms of Cult of the Lamb, it's a very strong sort of picked it for religion, and you'll play it for the aspect of sort of creating the religion.
Yeah.
You may also go to it for its sort of the roguelike aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Marvel vs. Capcom, it's a fighting game. You'll go to it for the fighting. You might also go to it because of sort of your external love for Marvel and for Capcom and seeing those characters sort of realised in that space. If you are playing Cooking Mama, you are playing it for the cooking.
No.
If we bought it for cooking, and you're playing it for the cooking, you are not playing it for the questionable racial stereotypes in play. I can see where that fucking line of thought is going, and I am not entertaining it.
I also go for it for customization.
Of what?
I love making my pinafore different.
But why are you wearing a pinafore? You're not wearing it for the fashion statement. You're wearing it for cooking.
She doesn't cook at all. She just is dressed up telling me what's going on.
That's because she is a dictator. And there is a very questionable undertone going into this game, again, which you're not playing it for. You're playing it for the cooking.
But you just said you do go for it.
Are you sure you're not playing it for the vaguely dominatrix kink
Yes,
of it?
for sure. I get enough of that in my regular life. I don't need to go up against that. I'm
Does Laura know about that?
No, it's fine because she's not going to listen to this anyway, so she will continue to not know about it. You play Cooking Mama for the cooking. It's a cooking game.
I'll be honest. Cooking Mama was top of my list.
Yeah.
It was top of my
I feel
list.
like it has to be.
Like there was no way I wasn't going to go for Cooking Mama if I had the choice for. I think it's the most accurate one. It was so accurate that when we were talking about getting cooking, we said if anyone takes Cooking Mama, they are lazy and cheating at this.
That's the
and then
thing.
the very next episode, you bought it because you were lazy and
That's
cheating.
the thing. It's the only game for which, for most accurate, we've described it as the lazy pick because it's so obvious.
Yeah. So
Which means it has to win.
it means it has to win that. I think.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it is our most
I
accurate.
will say, I literally wrote Cooking Mama and then was like, I can't do it. So fair play to you for doing
Again,
it.
because it's the lazy
Lazy
pick.
Yeah. You
That's
shouldn't-
how accurate it is.
Shouldn't have been the case. Shouldn't have been the case. Really bad.
Anyway,
Really
value for
bad.
money.
I think it deserves to be. And I'll put it on our social that it wins it. And I think you can't really argue that anything was more accurate.
No,
than that.
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Do we want to have a little look at the other games that won most accurate, just to sort of go through what we had that
Yeah.
could have been considered that wasn't mentioned? He says, trying to pull it up rapidly,
Trying to remember them.
whilst other people are sat there.
I'll
just like,
run
well.
through it. I was trying to sort of think back because I know the first one was Phobia, which we don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
For survival horror, we had Phobia, St. Dinfil Hotel. Yeah.
We've gone over the next two. We had Marvel vs. Capcom,
Capcom,
and then we had Cooking
Cooking
Mama.
Mama.
We then had Sonic
Sonic
Generations,
Generations.
which is on my list. We then had Lego Lord of the Rings for Party.
Which didn't deserve to be in there, but none of them did.
None of them deserved to
none
win
of
the
them were
party.
party games.
That was the one that sort of closest represented that.
Yep.
Then we had Anime, which I believe was Fist of the
No.
North. Was it Digimon?
It was Digimon Cyber Sleuth.
Okay.
Because it played more like an anime.
Played
Yeah.
more like an
Yeah.
anime, whereas Fist of the North Star was more of a Yakuza clone.
Then we had Talos Principle,
Talos,
first person.
then we had
shooter.
Doom Eternal because
Yep.
we couldn't make a decision. We just went, fuck it, give it to Karis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then it
Cult
was
of the
Cult of the
Lamb.
Lamb. Then it was
A joint win.
Joint of Stardew and Harvest Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Death Stranding.
Was well done. But yeah, so I think that is fairly clear that it was most accurate.
Yeah.
I think there are games that didn't win most accurate in certain categories that would have won on a stronger options than other weeks were.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all of the games pretty much were stronger options than anything for Party.
Yeah.
Yep.
If
Yeah.
I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, Party took some deciding.
Yes.
Mostly
cool.
because none of us picked party games.
we didn't.
Mine had a
right?
party in.
Yours had two parties.
It did.
We were liberal with the definition of party.
Yeah, and I don't agree with anything we said there. I think it's a really. I think we fucked up that episode.
Fuck it. It's great.
So should we move on to value for money?
Money for money.
Yeah.
Go on, Karis. What did you select for value for money? So you get first choice again,
Yeah.
which means you should win every one of these.
Don't be bitter, just get better.
I like that.
Or
Don't work smarter, don't work harder.
or just be lazy.
Yeah.
Go for it. What do you go for?
Okay, so I
This
went
Cooking
for
Mama, lazy.
Persona 5.
Good shout. It's on my
Yeah.
list.
It was top of my list.
It's
It's third on my list.
do I
No, go for it. No, we don't talk about it right now. We'll go into
Yeah.
the other ones
okay.
on there. Oh man, this is really
Are you
annoying.
looking at which of your other two to pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know which one
the
you-
other two are mine.
Which of the two you gone for then?
My options are Heavy Rain and God of War.
No, mine were Heavy Rain and Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Heavy Rain was my number 2 on here, so I'm going to go with Heavy Rain.
I will go with God of War then.
Okay.
And honourable mention to Kingdom Come Deliverance, which was...
Disagree, but okay.
But it was £6 for 120 hours.
Yeah, but it's not a good 120 hours.
It doesn't need to be good though, does it?
It does, because we had... I'll bring this up every time there's an opportunity. There's an episode in season 1 where
Did we change it for season 2 though? Yes.
we didn't change the description at all. You just went the other direction. In season 1, you fucked me out of a value for money point by saying it's got the most time, but I wouldn't want to play it. And then when I gave the same argument in season 2, you went, well, that doesn't matter. Like, well, fuck you. That was your argument.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because I'm in charge. I am God.
Justice for Bloodstained.
Oh no, Bloodstained is right. It's the worst game.
Great game.
It was the worst game of that week.
Incorrect. It was the best game of that week by a considerable margin.
Worst game. Anyway, so
Keris wasn't there.
value for money. Keris, go on. Persona 5. Why is that getting it?
I
for
mean,
you?
Persona 5 is getting it for me just because,
Big game.
first of all, I think I can't remember what the exact price of it was, but if it was
$4.99.
there we are. I was going to say under £10. It's under 5, and the amount of content and
110 hours
that you get from it is just
Nothing.
massive. It's
Not
just,
that I made notes of these.
yeah, undeniably huge. And not only that, it's an enjoyable
It
game.
is an enjoyable game.
Fun. You get a lot. You just get so much for your money.
The
You get
only
so much for
the
your
only
money.
thing that I would argue about enjoyment for that one is if you miss stuff, and it's very easy to fuck things up. You
Yep.
may need to to get that full 110 hours,
Yeah.
platinum sort of thing, if that's what you're going for, because we're looking for completionists against it. You may need to do 2, maybe 3 run-throughs if you
Yeah.
really mess it up.
It took
which
me
is
200 hours because I fucked the first third of it.
Yeah.
So I had to go back and do that again.
Which is the thing. I think I did mine in about 120 hours because I did have a really good run and I didn't really need to do much of a cleanup.
Yeah.
But the replayability, I don't think it has that replayability. I think it does. I would go back to it now because I'm now removed since lockdown, which is 3 years.
Yeah.
I would go back to it now, but
And
going back straight afterwards.
I have Royal now,
Yeah.
which I haven't played, so I
Yeah.
can go back and play that.
But
That exists.
going back to play it is the only thing that I would say was the
Yeah,
downside.
yeah.
But I do think
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
fiver for that amount of content is
Yeah.
insane, which is why it was highly thought
Yeah.
of my list. Heavy Rain,
Heavy Rain, yeah.
£1.50.
£1.50.
for 20 hours worth of
Yeah.
if you're going to do it. I mean, realistically, the reason I think this is up there is because it just costs £1.50,
Yeah.
which is stuff you would find in your settee.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's literally
Yeah.
just finding a game
Yeah.
in your house that you didn't know you used to have. So it's almost 20 hours for free. It's
Yeah.
the way I look at it, which sounds ridiculous, but I think it's just one of those games where I'm like, fuck me for that. And it's a good game. I think it's a fun game. I don't think it's got I know you need to replay it lots of times to it, but one playthrough is good fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing because the whole it's down your sofa so you get it for free. Have you guys heard of the girl math thing?
No?
It sounds like girl math. So there's a thing on TikTok at
sounds
the moment where
right, though.
you say, I bought all of these clothes for £100, but then I found £50, so really I only spent £50 on it. So
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I always thought like girl math was like, well, I spent £100 on clothes and I spent half of it, so I actually saved 50 quid. And you're
Yeah.
like, no, that's not. You didn't say
that
that
is
you
girl math.
spent 50 quid. That's like,
That I want to mock it, but that's the mental aspect I take thinking about
Yeah.
claiming expenses in work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've been traveling a lot and I'm putting in receipts for taxis and food I ate, and I'm like, oh, it's free money. I'm like, no, because I spent it. I spent the money and I'm regaining it. It's not free money.
No,
I
it's-
never would have spent it.
no, that's it. Yeah. And what? So that's it is essentially a free game is the way I look at
Yeah.
it for Heavy Rain, and it is actually a free game if you got PS Plus.
Yeah.
But it's for £1.50.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with that.
And then the last one is God of War, which I think was also in sort of that £5 region.
I didn't go back and listen to how much that one was because that's what I did. I went back and listened to see how much these were to
I
make sure we
believe
had
it's
the
in
right
that
prices.
£5 region, but
It
it's
was silly.
60 to 100 hours. A lot of people call it
I think it's a 60-hour game. I
yeah,
would say.
a lot of people. I picked this one more so for the quality aspect.
Yeah.
Of you're paying a £5 to get what many people herald as one of the best games of all time.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's so much quality of game. It's not as much numbers
Quantity,
as Persona
yeah.
is, but a lot of people would herald it as one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
It's
and
I
for
think,
that much money.
I think minute for minute, it's really good content. The only thing
Yeah.
is, I said I bounced off it 3 or so times, so it's where you find it
You
again.
have to be
Yeah.
in the mood for it.
You have to. But I think for what it is, and this is what you mean. You can find some real budget games in
Yeah.
here that are really worth it. Kingdom Come Deliverance, £6, 120 hours. is budget, but it's probably not enjoyment. So you're not
Yeah.
getting the same thing from it. It's these ones where you're getting enjoyment for something for next to nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you fall on this one? Do you fall on the side because that's possible? I agree with God of War.
It's my third.
But God of War is bottom. It's whether you go Persona or Heavy
It
Rain.
was
for this
third
one.
on my list, and these two were 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Which one did you have? One.
I had Heavy Rain 1 because it's so little
Because
money.
it's next to nothing. That's the
like
thing.
I think Persona has a lot of value for like a $5.
Yeah.
I think anything is value for £1.50.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's so little money
makes sense.
that it's just absurd that it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are games out there that are cheaper that you probably won't get as good content or quality
No,
for it.
like you could. If I listen to the two of them completely out of context, you can be like, "Did you buy what is Persona 5 now? Like 6-7 years old."
I think it's about 6 years old.
Yeah.
It's like I bought a 6-year-old game for a $5, and I'm like, yeah, like you look at eBay listings, that's perfectly reasonable.
2016.
2016, so 7 years old. Yeah,
Yep.
like that sounds reasonable. I bought X-year-old game for £1.50.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
from who? From
12, but like it's a 13-year-old game.
Yeah, from CEX just shipping out fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Shut
thing
the
it has,
radar.
it was a PS3 game, so they are cheaper. And PS3 games just probably aren't the same quality, to be honest. So it was a bit of a cheap shot, but I agree. I think for £1.50, it's basically free money. So I would say Heavy Rain
Yeah, I
is
think
our
like,
most valuable.
Yeah.
yeah, money to hour. It's Persona.
Yeah.
For the sheer audacity
Yeah.
of buying it for one of it,
Yeah.
I think that's where it has to go.
Cool. So Heavy Rain is our most value for money game this year.
Shout Heavy Rain, best party game.
Best.
Best party game.
Didn't even have a party in
Didn't
it.
have a party in it.
Did it win most? It won value for money.
It won
didn't
value
even,
for
it
money.
didn't even win most entertaining.
No.
No,
No.
it did not. The correct game won most entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably did.
Yeah.
So should we move on to most entertaining as we're talking about it? The game that
Yeah.
we found most entertaining. Keris, again, you only have one listed.
I do.
My list is bizarre for this one.
And as a shock to absolutely no one, most entertaining for me is Resident Evil 7.
Okay. Yep.
For me, I actually have Ni no Kuni as my number one most entertaining game.
Okay. It's my number 2. Yeah.
What's your number one?
My number 1 is a game I did not play, but I know how much I love it, and it's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Oh, I thought about Pokemon Mystery
Fucking
Dungeon.
killer game.
The other two games I had on my list for entertainment were Persona 5
Yeah.
and Cult of the Lamb.
I
Yeah.
had Borderlands on mine.
Yeah.
Borderlands,
Persona
Ni no
5
Kuni, and
is
Pokemon
up
Mystery
there for
Dungeon.
me.
That's fair. I mean, that's where it is. I mean, for me, I think, whoever wants to go first. I mean, Keris, do you want to
Yeah.
lead and get off again?
Yeah, okay. So I'm not going to say anything I haven't already said about this game. It is my favourite game of all time. I find it endlessly entertaining.
Good game.
I think it is the rebirth that the Resident Evil franchise needed at the time. I've replayed it so many times. I go back to it so many times. I just think it's fucking sick, man. I love this game so much.
Yep.
I'll be clear as well. Ni no Kuni isn't my number one game for this year's things, but I just think there's something really quaint
There's
and
something special
enjoyable
about
about
it.
Ni no Kuni, and it's one of those
Yeah.
games that if you talk to someone else who's played it, you could see them instantly light up because people haven't had a bad experience playing Ni no Kuni. It's a different sort of game in that style. You know what I mean? Like you play Persona, you go, oh yeah, it's great, but do you remember that dark? Like this is just like, oh, this was a great time.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was transported.
It's bizarre to call a 200-hour JRPG a comfort game.
Yeah.
But you just sink into it.
That's-
It's so
Yeah.
joyous and lovely. I love it.
And that's it. And I think it's one of those games that you can play. People will go back to. I mean, it's been remastered, and the original game is what 2013 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those.
PS3 game.
So it's one of those games that just has come back into cycle. And then Ni no Kuni 2 came out, and everyone went back to
Very
Ni no
good.
Kuni one
Yeah.
again. And I just think it's one of those ones where they're going to reinvent it. It's going to feel good, and it's obviously it's Ghibli inspired. So
It's fantastic,
people
yeah.
wthis love that art style are going to love the bits
It's
of this
developed
game
with
as well.
Ghibli.
Yeah.
They did the artwork for it.
So
They
it's
did the cutscenes.
it's just one of those games that I think people will have a wonderful, entertaining time. And even if you're not enjoying the game, I think it's one of those ones where people could sit alongside you
Have a lovely time.
and watch bits along with you, which is why it's entertaining.
Yeah.
Like if your partner is like, they could be playing on the Switch, they could be doing anything else,
Yeah.
and then they'll watch the cutscenes and they'll
Yeah.
have a nice 2 minutes of like, oh, that was really cool, and then they can just go back to whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
That's sort of why I put it up there.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is just lovely. I really like it, especially like the Switch version. The redo of the art they've done is beautiful. It's got this really nice sort of watercolor aspect to it. I think the plot is like surprisingly engaging. I didn't expect.
I love that they all have different accents.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I didn't expect a Pokemon game to have a plot line where you're run out of town for bringing about the apocalypse. But God, that's just a part of this game.
That does feel like something that I would expect in a Pokemon game. They treat their kids horribly in Pokemon games.
But it's got like a really nice sort of sit down, play for sort of half an hour gameplay loop. It's a really satisfying little sort of dungeon crawler thing.
Yeah.
I love the recruitment aspect of it, where you bring in the new Pokemon and you sort of build your team up. I love sort of the obviously you have your dojo, you have your friend areas, you have your items, you have sort of your various little jobs. I just think it's so much fun. It's so delightful, and it's great in one of those little. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to play like 20 minutes of it. I'm going to do a dungeon. I'm going to put it down. It's like sort of the optimal pick up and play game, which is like originally it was a DS sort of style, and all the ones came on the DS because that's what it's for. You'd open it, you play a dungeon, you close it, you're done.
Yeah.
I just think it's lovely.
I had fun streaming on Twitch, but I don't know if I had more fun because I was asking people to give me accents to talk about Pokemon with. I don't think it's a game I'm ever going to really want to go back to. And it's not the same, but I view it in similar light to like 2 Point Hospital, where it's one of those games which is cozy switch off. It didn't engage me enough. I don't know if I think it far enough in the story for it to hook me.
I think part of it as well is it's in the same way as 2 Point Hospital.
Yeah.
It's not a game you sit down and give 100% of your undivided attention for 3 hours. You pick it up, you play an hour, you put it down, and you sort of play an hour here and there.
Or you're playing it whilst watching a TV show or something like that.
The only time you pick it up for that time is when you get to the end game, and you've got like 30 end game dungeons, and you're trying to recruit everyone, and you're doing like a 40 level dungeon on repeat because you're trying to recruit the boss. You get a lot of stuff like that. It's got endless fucking longevity. Like, I considered it for value for money as well, because even though it was a lot of money, it's got relentless fucking longevity to it.
I considered it for value for money as well for that same reason, but because of the cost of it, I couldn't justify sticking it in there.
But it was like my 4th or 5th because it just keeps fucking going.
And you just said Resi 7 because you love Resi 7.
I honestly just it's brilliant. It's entertaining for different reasons for you guys, obviously, because yours is kind of more comfort based, whereas mine is, I just think it delivers so well in the horror aspect of it. I think the characters in it, like the Baker family, are just like Jack in particular for me is incredibly well crafted. And I just really love it.
I think Jack is really well crafted, but I think the issue with Resi 7, I think we've mentioned it before, is the second half of the game falls. I don't think there's a not consistency, because I think it's good throughout. I think it is a really good game. I just wish the consistency was the same way the whole way through.
Absolutely,
and then I'd be more like, you know what, you've killed it for 8 hours. You've literally destroyed it.
It suffers from what I think a lot of Resi games suffer from, which is the first half is outstanding and the second half always kind of fails to meet the mark of the first half. And it is a shame, because I think the elements with Jack and I with Marguerite as well, because I know you two particularly
I think
hate
Spooky
Marguerite.
lady.
But I think it's hard that you have those two and then you go to what I would argue is the worst part of the game.
Do you think Lucas's part is worse than the ship part?
I definitely do.
I describe this game as like an exponential curve downwards where the 0 is bad. Like, it never quite hits bad, but it just keeps cruising towards bad, never quite meeting it, and then it ends.
I prefer the ship to Lucas myself.
I personally prefer the ship level, but
I don't. I'd say.
Oh no, a lot of people don't.
I find the ship just a bit dull and a bit frustrating.
But I think Marguerite is creepier for me. I'd like it, but I think Jack's bit's better.
For me, Jack's bit is the highlight of the game,
which is why I would say that because there is a decline through the game, I wouldn't say that was the most entertaining for me throughout, but I can see why you would make that argument. I mean, I'm very much dead set on Ni no Kuni.
My vote's for Ni no Kuni.
And I think Ni no Kuni is potentially, like, just because it is one of those games that
on reaction right on my list, I wrote Pokemon Mystery Dungeon at the top, and then as we were talking about it, I'm like, nah, fuck, I really do love Ni no Kuni.
No, that's fair.
That's fair, and that's not to crap on.
Who thought this would have been the one to come out the season as most entertaining?
It was a
Ni no Kuni,
really strong season, a lot of really good games. I mean, what makes sense is to have a little think about like moments that were like big for you, either playing the games or something that maybe have happened on stream, or maybe like something we discussed in there. Is there anything like stands out for this season? As it's your first season here, Garrus.
Want to give a shout out to the moment that made me laugh just so hard I had tears
Was
in
it
my eyes.
earlier this episode where I talked about cat anus?
No.
Okay.
Was it last episode with, what's it? Bandai Namco?
Bandai Namco? No, it was Darren's stream of Lego Lord of the Rings.
I love
and
this.
there was a part where you were trying to do something with Legolas and you threw Gimli off a cliff.
No, it was to throw Gimli to Legolas, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and the game just disagreed.
It disagreed. I think Gimli briefly lands on it and then immediately drops to the fucking ground.
It was just the way that, if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. I would really recommend.
I think it's the opening clip of the episode.
Clip where Darren just pauses the game and just
There's something about Lego games where they make even like the most mundane mistake. Something about it is hysterical. Like your play of the game for that episode was throwing a rock into Sam's face and exploded.
Yeah.
Which, in most games, if I hit my teammate with a projectile, it's not funny.
No.
Something about a Lego game makes it hysterical.
It's classic slapstick humour,
Yeah.
isn't it? And it resonates with people.
It was like absolutely golden moment. I absolutely loved it.
There's another one in that same stream. I think it's Gimli again is trying to respawn, and I'm still on the end of the platform. And he keeps respawning and falling in the hole on repeat. And that's fucking funny as well.
Yeah. No, I loved it.
Anything else? Anything for you, Darren?
Cock and balls on the pancake.
Yeah.
Play the game from cooking. Hardest I've laughed. It's just, oh my god!
You guys had really worked hard on your play of the games, and I'd sort of thrown this episode away. I thought I wasn't going to get play of the games.
It's the childish humour of drawing the cock and balls on the pancakes that we can all enjoy. It's the childish humour of like dressing it up so it's a very fancy picture of cock and balls drawn on a pancake.
Yep.
And there's the fucking like cherry on top that you did it before.
I forgot.
That you thought you were so fucking clever.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever done. I'm so clever. I'm so original. Draw my cock and balls, make it all sparkly. It brings up the previous one, and it's the same fucking image.
What it is, think about it. I think they were a day removed. I not even spent that far apart on it. I just gone crazy doing Cuckoo Mama. It like killed my brain entirely.
Like normally our play of the games are like a really respectable moment or a really cool bit of the game or a really like bit that really drew us into it. And the funniest play of the game we've had all season is I drew a cock and balls on some pancakes.
Yep.
But I actually did it twice.
Yeah.
Yep. Simple.
Yeah.
It's a
Simple
real
stuff.
like distillation of our mentality on this podcast. That like the other play of the games for that episode, I think were like a really harrowing bit where you're like
they were.
going into the burnt out remains of your town and like a quest line where you're trying to help like a lost cat and you're bringing a fish and it's really sweet. And did we respect either of those? No, because someone drew a cock and balls on a pancake twice. So we were like, yep, that's the one.
Simple stuff, isn't it?
Yep.
It's a bit that makes you laugh. The simple bits. I mean, I'm trying to think of the big bits. I mean, like streaming wise, I think the amount of screaming Keris does is always good. I mean, it's more concern for my neighbours more than anything else at that point. In the episode, there've been so many mispronunciations, people getting things wrong. I think they are the bits that really, when people get something wrong and then just piling on it, really works for me.
It really works for me.
Normally, it's me making it wrong, but I do that.
That's kind of funny.
I would say best moment is just doing it with you guys.
Oh,
Lame.
gay.
Right, we'll have to edit that out because it's hate crime now.
Yeah, I was going to say it, and then I caught myself because I'm like, well, that's offensive.
I didn't.
But,
I would also like to give a special shout out to a moment, speaking of me screaming, in a stream where I legitimately thought I'm going to shit my pants. And the weird thing was it was in Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Hell yeah.
Where
Great game.
It was like, they were like, turn on the ink machine. And I was like, I have turned on the ink machine. What the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
All a ploy to get you to go to the bottom of the corridor. And then this thing just pokes out.
Oh,
and
the demon.
I thought,
The demon.
I am going to lose my life right now.
Oh, actually, you know what? Favourite moment of the season was Keris buying me one of the worst games ever for the very first episode.
Hell yeah.
And I thought,
Oh my God,
and
don't.
I literally went, why the fuck have we invited Keris?
I literally have a rant pending about that game, so let's not right
Just
now.
before we go, I have one more honorary mention, which is the most accurate fight during the non-human protagonist episode.
Oh, God.
Which
You got so angry.
I did. It's like most of the time in this, I care. I do care. I want to do well. and I buy games because I believe in them. And this came up in the last season as well, where I believe Josh has a real love of bad faith arguments for the purpose of entertainment. And normally I refuse to bite because I see it and I refuse to bite.
I wish you guys could see the absolute shit-eating grin that Josh has got on his face
I've
right
bitten
now.
on these arguments twice.
Yep.
The first time I bit on it is the Games Based on Movies episode in season 1.
Yep.
Which to this day I am still upset about.
As am I.
Because it was the wrong decision and we let the wrong game win.
Yeah, it should have been Ghostbusters.
Because it shouldn't have. Because we were too entertained by the fight to respect the sanctity of the competition.
We did literally burn ourselves to the ground whilst Paul sat there not engaging and he just stepped away with points. Yep. Because out of spite, we didn't want either of us to win. Yeah.
The second time I bit was this season on Non-Human Protagonist. Because I so strongly believed in my argument. And the argument coming back at me was not a good argument.
I stand by it.
And everyone knew, even the people making the argument, it was not a good argument.
No.
The thing that upset me the most about it
Humans wear clothes.
was not the argument itself. It was that I could see Kara starting to come around to the bad faith argument. I could see you were just doing it for fun. You were just doing it for your own entertainment.
Yeah.
But I could see that Kara's actually started to buy into it. And that's when I got angry. Because I'm like, I'm fine just rattling back and forth with you, because I know you're just doing it to rile me up. When legitimately the point is slipping away from me because Keris is accepting the bullshit argument being presented here. That's when I'm like, no, motherfuckers, it's time to yell.
It's basically when people start drinking the Kool-Aid I've been making, you're like, I can't take it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't mind us having a little fun back and forth with some shit arguments. I don't like it when legitimately it starts to drag the point away from me.
I've always said the problem with being on this podcast is that if we were, for example, in the 70s where cults were a big thing, Josh would be a cult leader and I would absolutely fall for it. So
You'd fall for any cult, let's be honest.
I would.
I'm the guy on the outside going, I think there's something dodgy about this, but no one's listening to me.
Yes.
I see the bullshit being peddled, and I'm like, I'm not going to bite.
Stay in your lane.
And then Kara starts biting on the bullshit. I'm like, no. I actually have to engage now because this is getting dangerous.
Yeah, it's been a good episode. It's been a good season.
Good season. Yeah.
And should we have a look at some of those good games that we had?
Yes.
What we'll do a top 5 of our favourite games. We'll start at the 5th one. If anyone mentions a game that you got later in your list, we won't talk about it till we get to that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll start with Darren because Karis has started the whole time. So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is going to be mentioned later because my number 5 is Resi 7.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it on anyone else's list?
Yes.
It's on Karis's higher up, is it? Not number 5?
No.
I was going to say, actually, it's not number 5.
No, she's already mentioned it, but yeah, that's fine. For me, for number 5 then, is Stardew Valley.
Good shout.
Yeah.
Good
I don't
shout.
know if anyone had that on there,
No,
so
no.
we'll talk about
It
Stardew.
probably would have been my number 6.
Just to mention,
Very good shout.
Stardew Valley is a brilliant game. I think most people have seen it, but I think Stardew Valley is one of those games that you will need to play to understand why it's good. I think just seeing bits about it, you won't care much, but it's just one of those games you can just switch off again. It's chill, but you're also, as I said, anxiety riddled until you work out what you need to do.
You sort of need to let go on the want to do well in it.
I tell you what,
It can be a meditative game, really.
Yeah.
Well,
You
this
just-
is the thing. It's quite interesting. I've got a friend called Lydia who.
Good
Friend of the podcast.
I mean, we keep cutting her out of every episode, so we'll just keep doing that.
This is really relevant.
I'll
though.
leave this one in,
She
but I'll leave in our discussion about her being cat as well.
She doesn't
Just so she knows.
play Studio
Studio Valley.
Like I said, I love it when people make mistakes with their little pronunciations.
She doesn't play Stardew Valley, but she will routinely have what she calls smooth brain time, where she will watch someone play Stardew Valley on YouTube just because she finds it so relaxing.
I enjoy that, yeah.
And
I'll
yeah,
do the
so, yeah.
Yeah, Stardew Valley were number 5.
Very good.
It just beats out Resi 7.
What's your
And what's number
number
5?
My number 5 was Cult of the Lamb. So
Not on my list
Not on
either.
my list.
Yeah,
Again, like a very close comparison.
Very
to number
close,
5.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about it because obviously we talked about it in Most Accurate, but I really, really enjoyed this game. For me, it was a mix of things. Like, I enjoyed the aesthetics of it. I enjoyed the kind of stupidity of it. I just thought it was a really, really fun game.
I think it was like my number 2 game of last year.
Yeah.
I think reflectively it's probably a little lower than that, but I think it's a really good game.
Also another top tier player of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The slow spread of dissent in your
Yeah.
cult.
Yep. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
All fucked up for me.
And, feeding your cultist poop. 'cause
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
excuse.
he tells me to. Do you want to do number 4, Gareth?
Yeah, my number 4 was God of War.
Good show.
It's my number 2 game.
It's not on my list.
Not on your list? Fucking hell. I mean, it's a game that I think should be on there, but we'll
Yeah.
discuss it at number 2. So, yeah. But yeah. Number 4 for me, Judgment.
Good shout. I
No, no
haven't
one's
played
list.
enough of it to put it up there.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I've got a different list to everyone. So number 4 is Judgment. Great Yakuza-style game. I actually think it's an easier introduction into the series.
Yeah.
If you've never played a Yakuza game, this one is like, oh, here's a little bit more sense to it. It's a bit more grounded in what it's doing, and it just feels nice. It just looks good.
Yeah.
And Lost Judgment is on PS Plus. I think Judgment is as well.
Yeah.
So if you've got PS Plus, check out both of the
So
games.
I was going to say, in our last episode, the Freebies one, we talked about the alphabet challenge.
Yeah.
Original Judgment is my J.
Yeah.
And I played like the 3 hours for the stream, and I cannot wait to go back to it.
No,
I'm so excited to go back to
It's
it.
really good. It's finding the time to go back
Yeah,
to it
that's the thing.
and playing
Really
it.
commit to it.
I don't think it's my J for
No.
the card,
yours
which is a
that,
shame.
I can't remember what it is.
I wish is yours for the card, is it?
Mine's for the card. It's J's Judgment.
Oh, that's a shame. I wish
I
I
think
had that.
you were like too high.
Yeah, I wish I could go back and use it for my J, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Oh, well.
I think it's a really good game, and again, it's one of those things where you're like, brilliant, you've done
Yeah.
superb
Yeah.
jobs. So cool.
Yeah.
What was your number 4 then, Darren?
My number 4 was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
I thought about it,
Yeah.
but not very hard.
So again, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's lovely, sort of little chunks. I think the story's great. I think the art style is beautiful. I always enjoy playing it. I love its weird little story of sort of camaraderie between
Yeah.
you and your little team. And I just think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely one of those where I'm like, I liked the original DS version, so I have that nostalgia carrying forwards. I also think it's well worth picking up if you've never had an experience with the series before.
Just checked out my J. It's Just Cause 4,
Cool. Have fun with that.
which is not going to be anywhere near as good
Nope.
as Judgment.
Yeah.
Nowhere near.
Nowhere near as good. What's your number 3 then, Darren?
My number 3 is not going to be on anyone's list because my number 3 is Borderlands 2.
No,
Okay.
definitely not on my list.
Yeah.
I love it. So much fun. Great gunplay. A lot of people don't like sort of the unending barrage of guns coming at you. But I love it because it endlessly sort of keeps the gameplay fresh. You're always starting with something new. All the guns have slightly different play styles. My face lights up with glee anytime I find a TDR weapon, which you don't reload. You throw the empty guns like grenades.
Yeah.
Fills me with joy anytime I find them. I think the story's a lot of fun. I think the characters are a lot of fun, even if they do have their moments of being sort of a bit too wacky.
Yeah.
But that's just how sort of the game is. It has this very serious tone for how wacky its world and characters are. There's sort of a dissonance there, but I think for Borderlands it kind of works. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me. And that's the reason why.
That's fine.
I like the gameplay.
Yeah.
I understand the guns. I just it
I've
just
never
doesn't
played
work.
it. I enjoyed watching you play it when
Yeah.
you streamed
I
it.
think it's a game to play with another person.
Like
really.
my partner Lauren doesn't really care for first-person shooters. She was very, very excited for us to start our second playthrough of Borderlands 2.
Oh, cool.
That's how much she loves that game. Just because it has that slightly sort of easier curve to it. And
Yeah.
in multiplayer, you can very easily prop each other up, so she can hide back and sort of snipe a bit more. And have a
Whilst
bit
you
more
do
of
the
a
bit, but
While I run around with a shotgun, be like, bang, 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 fuck everything. I think it's lovely, yeah.
Fair enough. My number 3 is Nino Kuni.
It is higher on my list.
Oh, we won't talk about it right
Not
now.
mine.
So what's your...
Bad
I've not
person.
played it.
What's your number 3?
You should play it, it's a great game.
My number 3 is Persona 5.
It's higher on my list.
It's higher on my list.
Okay.
I wonder what it is on Josh's list. Can we...
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Control.
Oh, not on my
Good
list
shout.
at all.
Yeah.
But
It's not on my list, but I think it's a great show.
I think it's a great game.
Yeah.
I think it's a
yeah.
good game. So
Probably top 10 on the season,
I
but...
really loved Control. There was something about Control, and I mentioned this in the episode, where I was going through a bit of a period where I was like demotivated with a lot, and it really gripped me. There's something about the way that it looks, the story behind it, the actual combat in it, and the gameplay is really good. It really, really drew me in. I'm really excited because I know that it's the C on my alphabet challenge, and I'm
actually
excited
complete
to
it,
go
yeah.
back and complete it because obviously I've been distracted by other things. And
Is the N on Karis's card Nino Kuni?
Nino Kuni 2.
yeah,
That's
which I'm excited for.
Still a good
I'm
shout.
really excited
Still
for.
a good shout. Both great games. Well played.
And yeah, I it's one of those games that I think if
Do you want to make any kind of noises?
no,
Are we opening the vault again?
it's a game that I
Inside.
cunt. You fucking cunt.
Stop having to make us edit everything out. You've got such a bad mouth. Keep talking.
Jabba the fucking Hutt.
Well,
Are you for real?
don't go.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut out like Karis saying cunt. I'm gonna just put it over Karis's like words every time she talks in this podcast. So we go like, Karis, what's your number 5? You cunt. Okay, we'll talk about it later.
I'm so fucking angry right now.
It's fine, we'll cut out your rage. Yeah, Control. I think it's very good.
I would genuinely recommend this to anybody that enjoys first-person shooters, that enjoys anything with like an element.
Third-person shooter, so that's why.
Yes, of course it. I know it. I don't know why I said first-person.
I think its gameplay is good if unspectacular. I think its story is phenomenal.
I don't think the gameplay is anything revolutionary, but as you said, the story's
great. Incredible.
I find it really, really.
I think graphically it looks really nice as well.
Yes, yeah. It's immersive. It's really immersive, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it.
I think they're really good. It's Remedy, isn't it? They're great at like creating a world for you to be in. It's just it's sort of their jam, and they still just make games they want to make, which is really nice.
That's why I'll make 2.
Talking of your card, though, obviously that's C. You also have G on your card, which is God of War. We're now at number 2.
Yes.
So we can talk about God of War. God of War is my second game on here, and I think if you're objectively looking at these games as a list of which is the best game, like it feels like it should be a top 5 game because it is one of those games that people say is like one of the best of all time. And as you said, dense for content for what you're getting, and it's just really good. And the story is amazing. The voice acting, brilliant. The feel, I mean, the first time you throw the Leviathan axe and it comes back to you, like, there's so much in that game that you're just like...
It is an incredibly satisfying game to play for combat.
I think combat-wise, it might be one of the best. I mean, like, that, it's like, I equate it to being the same first time I played, like, Arkham Asylum with Batman. Like, I'm like, this combat feels so right. Nice. It feels so good and fluid, and, you know, I'm being rewarded for doing well.
Absolutely.
I've thoroughly enjoyed playing God of War, to be fair.
It's
taken
me
so long to finish it because, again, I keep getting distracted by other things. Yeah. But it's a game that every time I go back into it, I'm like, this is so fucking good.
Yeah. What's your number 2 then, Darren?
My number 2 is Ni no Kuni.
Oh, we can talk about Ni no Kuni now, yeah.
Phenomenal game. It's one of my favourite JRPGs probably ever.
Yep.
It's got that really nice sort of...
One of, because we know what one is.
Pokemon-esque, like, battle style. With their like caring requirements and their evolutions and all that. So getting the platinum for it was a nightmare, and I enjoyed every second of it. I can say both those things in parallel.
We talk about in entertainment why it's such a nice game as well, and also Welsh representation is
Welsh representation.
Yes!
It feels amazing to play. The graphical style has got sort of Ghibli infused style, which is absolutely gorgeous. I think the world building is amazing. I love the weird sort of animal representation throughout, like King Tom.
Yes.
The cat king of the first one.
Yeah.
The cow lady.
Califa,
yeah.
And you have sort of like the mouse underground.
It feels very Ghibli-esque, isn't it? It's like that Pompoko and all that sort of thing with the raccoons.
It's just endlessly fun.
Yeah.
The battle system takes a little while to get the hang of, but once you start getting sort of higher abilities and more enemies on screen, it gets a really nice flow where you're like, right, I've set this one to defend, I have to throw out the other one because he's got better attack skills against this. Like that it's like real-time Pokemon.
Yeah.
You sort of swap them in and out on the fly depending on what enemies you're trying to fight. I think it's phenomenal.
And I must assume then your number 1 is Persona 5.
My number 1 is Persona 5.
Which is my number 1 as well.
Persona 5 is my 5th favourite game of all time. I love it.
It's top 10
phenomenal.
for me. It's just
so good.
It's a brilliant game.
So
I think
good.
it does a really good job, and this was not something I expected when I went into it, and it's something I talked about in the episode, I think, in mixing really light stuff with really dark stuff. Mentioning the bit where the girl jumps off the building, that was a moment that audibly made me go, oh my god, you know, like it's just...
Yeah, I mean, it is, and graphically beautiful. I love the sort of styles that they've got in there, because like the cutscenes, like it looks amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the look of it when it's not in cutscenes as well, like all this sort of like heavy, like manga-inspired cell shading.
I like the style and the battles are kind of like the attack.
Yeah, it's just everything about it feels good. The big thing is it's so open, and you do feel like, everything I'm doing matters, and you are doing everything, and it does matter, and it helps you in different ways. How you choose to do it is entirely up to you. Yes, there is a way that makes most sense to do it, because you can utilise it, but just go explore and work out what you're doing, you know?
I think it's rare for a game of this Goat, which has so many like characters you interact with, that there's like your 8 party members and like 10 social contents outside of that, and there's only like 2 I don't really care for. Everyone else is so well realized. Even the ones I don't really care for, I think are relatively well realized. They're just sort of less interesting.
I can't remember his name now. Arc Boy.
Oh, I like Art Boy.
I thought he was one of the ones you didn't care about.
No, it's 2 of the links. It's the fortune teller and the reporter woman.
Yeah, I didn't care much.
That's the thing.
Woman.
But all the others are like, they're so engaging in their own ways. I love the weird...
The fortune teller I didn't mind. She's just meant to be a bit like... airy and like that sort of thing. So.
But I love all the sort of the undergoing plots. Like, I love that Yusuke is just poor.
Yeah.
And every time you meet him, he's like, can you get me some food?
Yeah.
And like, canonically in the game, you have millions flowing out of your pockets. You're like, you know what, Yusuke? Have my fucking scraps.
Yeah.
Dickhead. I've made millions invading the metaverse, but yeah, have the end of my bread.
Yeah. I mean, the most annoying one is Mona, the cat.
Yeah.
Most annoying one, but still.
I love Mona.
A lot of people don't like, what's his name? Mishima? The like weedy kid.
Oh, really?
Friends. A lot of people don't really like him, but I think he has one of the best
stories,
confidence skills.
Oh, right.
Because his one, I think, is the one that gives XP to your party members who aren't in combat. So you make friends with him immediately. And you're like, you are my best friend for the first month of this game.
The first one you make friends with is the teacher.
Yep.
Because
you want to fuck the teacher, yep.
Because you get the massages, which gives you extra
actions. Out in the evening.
You get to go out in the evening. So you do that, so you've got extra actions. So if you max her out early, you've got more options.
You don't unlock her until like the end of the second.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, I have not fucked the teacher.
You don't fuck the teacher. She literally massages you.
Yeah, she comes over and rubs a teenage boy's back.
Yeah.
Dressed as a nurse.
The way that you talked about the teacher when you
as a maid.
As a maid, sorry.
Dressed as a maid.
Yeah. So what's your number one, Keris? We already know what it is.
We know what it is. It's Rising 7.
We don't need to talk anymore.
It is my number one game of all
Superb
time.
game.
That is all I'm going to say.
Very good.
Yeah.
Really good game. What we'll do is I'll put a compilation and we'll work out the top 5 of our season across us, and we'll do it that way. Worst 3.
Worst 3.
Let's start with the worst one. I think we all have the worst one.
It depends. We might have a different...
Worst 2,
the consensus is that the worst 2 are set in stone, but we might have some differences over what 1 and 2 are.
Yeah.
Which order they are.
Yeah.
I think the worst number one worst game we had this year was Harvest Moon: Light of Hope.
Oh, now for me it was Phobia.
For me it was also Harvest Moon.
Oh, okay.
So, I think the worst game is Harvest Moon because of what it represents. Whereas I think Phobia is a game that at least had good intentions.
I think Phobia is literally a game that is flawed and worked with a tiny independent studio, and they tried their best, and I can see what they tried to do, but they messed it up.
Yeah, I can see that
Harvest Moon has no redeemable features.
No, Harvest Moon is just bad. And the fact that Story of Seasons exists shows that Harvest Moon should be better, and it's not.
I will say, in that line of thought, I remember coming off the stream of Harvest Moon and turning to Josh and being like, I don't think I've ever been so fucking bored playing a game in my life. I was literally audibly picking fights with people, which you couldn't do in the game. I was just picking fights with people on Twitch, because I was like, I have to find a way to make this more entertaining for myself. It is a thoroughly boring experience.
It's not even a game.
Well, the thing is, like, they're not... That style of game isn't thrilling at the best of times. But something like a Story of Seasons or even a Stardew Valley at least has, like, normally it's just oozing charm.
Yeah.
All the characters have, like, their own little sort of lives and they're fun to speak to. Because of the structure of that game, you pick up a new character every, like, five fucking hours, probably. But they're so soulless. Mm-hmm. They're just, like... I remember, as far as I got, I just met a girl who was a fashion designer, and that's her entire character. She just rocks up in this little town and goes, I'm a fashion designer in the city. I'm like, is there anything else to you? And she goes, no.
Yeah, it's just... but the graphics are boring. It just looks bad. It
looks terrible.
It just looks awful.
Also, it just... in terms of the dialogue between the characters...
Are you rethinking your bottom one now? Is it definitely...
A little bit, yeah, because I, at least with Phobia, my... rants about that game come from a different place. This was just boring. This was
boring
just
and bad.
Boring, and it didn't give me anything.
Yeah, my difference, I think they're both bad games. I think Phobia at least tried. It doesn't feel like this game tried. They just went, fucking pump out a Harvest Moon and call it a day.
The bigger issue, like Phobia, I reckon I'd have got quite a bit further. And so I think I got further than you played it, and you further than I think Lauren gave it a go.
She got nowhere.
I got into like the second or third area, and then I got to the first boss, and mine was so bugged I couldn't get any ammo to beat it. And I was like, well, this is crap because you fucked the game because you've made a bad game.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be get to a point where you physically cannot get past it because we've made it poorly.
At least conceptually.
Yeah, conceptually I can
better.
understand it, and I think it deserves more love for that. But I don't think it's a good game. And I think we can all agree those are the worst two games.
Yeah.
So our number 3 worst game is going to be very much fought after.
Yeah.
Like we've all got different ones. Who wants to go first with their number 3 worst game?
I'll go first because mine's quite contentious.
I don't think it's contentious.
My number 3 worst game is Kingdom Come Deliverance. I get that a lot of people like this game, and if you do, more fucking power to you. I do not like this game. I just think it's needlessly awkward to do basically anything. I get what they're going for each step, and I get the idea is to make it a bit more involved and a bit more realistic. But the thing is, I don't play games for realism. If I want to embrace the real world feeling of swinging a sword,
Go outside.
I will just go outside. I'll pick up a stick and I'll fucking swing it around.
Yeah.
I'm playing a game to feel powerful. I'm playing a game to get that sort of alternative experience. The more you make it slow and awkward, it's like, hey, do you want to experience the accurate and realistic life of a, like, what is it, fucking 16th century Bavarian peasant? I'm like, you know what, developer? No. I've never thought I want to experience that.
It's actually it's on my list to get the platinum on this, and I went back to it, and I was like, I just want to get past this first objectives, and like I know I need to do things in a certain way to level up, and it just doesn't want to play ball. And you're like, I could get through this so quickly, but I need to do this early, otherwise I'm gonna have to start another new game, and I don't want to start a new game. I want to play it through once now and just work out where I'm going with it.
I feel like even if you took out some of the aspects that are dedicated to this hyper realism, I'd have a fucking great time with it.
Combat would be nicer.
Such a ball ache to play. I want to experience it. I want to engage with it. I love the idea of having this realistic sort of thirst, hunger, exhaustion that you need to keep on track on because you are a peasant and your fighting skill will improve as you go.
Oh yeah, I got the living shit kicked out of me by a guy who won't give me back my hammer.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
And
I was landing punches, but I think I have to lose that fight. And I'm like, I'm beating the living hell out of this guy, and it's like, no, you're not. They've deflected every punch you've thrown, and you're dead. You're like, oh, great.
And I get the idea is that you're a peasant who has no fighting experience that's meant to get better, and I love the concept of that. But it's so, like, I don't want to play it.
Yeah.
I want to, in the same vein as something you said earlier, I want to watch someone play this game.
Yeah.
I want to experience the story without actually having to play the fucking game you've made, because I don't like
That's
it.
fair enough. I think that's fair. What was your number 3 worst game?
My number 3. So this was a hard one for me because I wanted to make sure that it was a game that I'd actually played. Not one that you guys played that I'd watched or anything. And it was really hard because I don't think there were many games that I was given that I didn't like. And it's not that I don't like this game. I just enjoyed it the least, I think.
God, I hope I know what it is.
And
Or do you have a guess then?
No, I want to see what it is.
Is it Fist of the North Star?
Oh, I hope it's Def Jam.
it's Def Jam. Yeah, it's Def Jam.
I played Fist of the North Star.
I don't know. You ever posted it on stream?
I did do it on stream, yeah. I don't know. I enjoyed Fist of the North.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
fine.
I did.
I want to play it again.
The game is what it is. It just, to me, it's number one, it's a fighting game, and as I said in the fight episode, I'm not a fighting game kind of person, so I just didn't hold my attention.
I think it's one of the weaker Def Jam games.
And yeah, it just, I don't know, it didn't do enough for me to want to go back and play
I think
it
that's
when we were
absolutely
playing it.
fine to say. I mean, I thought about Marvel versus Capcom as my third worst because it's a fine one, but technically that's a very good game for what it is.
Yeah.
But I can see Def Jam not being that at all. So that's absolutely...
Yeah.
There were moments I really enjoyed doing it, in fairness, but it wasn't enough for me.
Definitely.
And
What's
I think
the song?
It's
Sitting Sideways.
Sitting sideways, yeah. Oh god,
That's the bit you enjoyed, yeah.
Oh no, that's the bit that haunted me in my sleep for a little while. I think the problem for me as well, though, as I said, is that it's at a disadvantage because it's shut up.
That's all, folks.
It's at a disadvantage because it was in my least favourite category.
Yeah.
And it's
get
the
that.
type of game that I enjoy the least, and it's the type of game that grips me
If
the
you were
least,
looking at,
so.
so I know you were one you played for, but ones people talked about and you looked at. So did you ever look at ones like people we talked about and you've got a general idea of? Is there any game that you would have put lower than that? Or do you not really think that far? You were just looking at games that you played.
I mostly looked at games that I played. I've got to be honest with you. The thought of Kingdom Come Deliverance makes me want to curl into my own body and die. I can't think of anything, no offense, more boring. As a proper pillow princess, I'm sorry. Do you want to be a 16th century peasant?
1670.
16 going on 17.
Do I want to be a peasant with no access to technology, no access to food? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want a realistic anything to do with that. So no.
As I say, I love the concept, but it goes too far with it to the point where I'm like, this is just annoying.
Nothing about that stands out to me.
I haven't gone for it. Do you want me to go for my third worst game?
third one.
Yeah.
It's a game I think is potentially the most boring thing I've ever played in my life. One of the most boring. It's 2 Point Hospital. What a waste of a fucking game that is. I would not recommend it to anyone.
I honestly, no, I get it, because I think you've got to be of a right mindset.
I bought it for Keris knowing it's exactly the sort of game that she would enjoy.
Yeah.
I played it knowing exactly the sort of game that I would find mindlessly boring.
Yeah.
And I found it mindlessly boring.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. I mean, I probably would enjoy it more if I'm doing something else alongside it, but I shouldn't go, oh, that game's enjoyable because I watched this film that I really like.
Yeah.
That's not how
I totally get it. It's one of those games that it's a really acquired taste. And that whole genre of game, I think, is an acquired taste.
What I think is interesting for me is obviously I've put 2 life sim games. I mean, one of them's not life sim, but 2 of the ones we bought for life sim in the bottom 3, but one of them made it into the top 5.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to an honourable mention, which was Sinking City.
It shouldn't have been there.
Which, like, I didn't care much for it. I think it's kind of ugly. I think it's kind of janky. But there were points where I was playing it where I'm like, go, I'm having fun.
So
I can't say that about the other ones.
I played it. So I played on stream, and you'll see me struggle through the stream. After that stream, I went off and platinumed the game. I actually enjoyed
quite
it.
fun.
There's a lot more to it, so I think Sinking City deserves a bit more love. But
I'd say it's maybe in like my
it's bottom half. It's bottom half of the board,
yeah.
but yeah, there was some really good games this year, so it
Really
leaves
good
bottom
games
half. Now, should we have a little look at who won and who lost this
Yes.
series? So we passed this job on to Darren.
I just want to say before we do that, I feel like we let Phobia off really easy in that segment, but I'm willing to let it go.
I think we gave it as much attention as it deserves.
Yeah.
Which is none.
I fucking hated it. I have never ever wanted to put my head through a window more than when I was streaming that game.
Part of me thinks about going back and beating it.
Oh my god. Fair play to you, because
I thought about it, and then I watched Lauren play it. I'm like,
yeah,
but I do understand where you're coming from in that it's an indie thing, and there's definitely.
I think it's just struggled.
Yeah.
It should be better. I mean, some people seem to like it, but I think it's riddled with bugs and errors.
yeah. Okay, so
Mind you, it might have had massive updates because you bought it for me quite a new game.
Yeah.
So it may have been a lot of
Maybe an updated,
updates recently that
patched.
makes it much better.
Yeah.
But who knows? Not much better, but playable.
Yeah.
in terms of the overall result, obviously we tied, which is not what we want.
No.
And the way we went around doing this, we did this last season, but we never announced what it was. The way we determined the overall winner is we took basically the number of points each individual person acquired. So across the categories of accuracy, value for money, entertainment, play of the game, if you won that, you get a point. If you split the win, you get half a point.
Yeah.
And I totaled them up across all the episodes. What do we want to start with? Do we want to start with who won or who lost?
We'll start with who won.
Okay, we'll start with who won. The winner for our season is Josh.
Yeah.
On 17 points.
Nice, thank
I believe
you.
with an available 44.
So it's very close then.
Yeah.
Very close.
Very close.
That's cool.
In second place
Fighting over 27 points.
is me.
With
14 and a half.
oh dear,
When
Gary.
you say in third place, can you just leave it to me for a second, because I have something I want to say.
Okay. In third place,
It's me. You won, Jane.
It makes me very happy. Get out of my house. I don't care.
Karis in third with 12.5 points.
That is close,
It
mate.
was
That is close.
very closely
Okay.
fought.
That's a very close sort of round.
I hope you take your points and get some lessons in grace and decorum.
I know.
won't.
So I know you also looked at a couple of other ways of scoring this.
Yeah.
But none of them worked out for Keris, did they?
No.
No,
Not all.
to be honest, I expected that. It's my first season. It's growing pains. It's, it's cool.
I mean, last season I think Paul did lose in that category as well, and then he left forever. So
Yeah.
please don't. Punishment wise, it hasn't officially been announced or agreed with either of you, but the punishment was going to be a 12-hour stream.
Oh, God, I don't even know if I'm going to stay awake for 12 hours.
Yeah, do it.
12-hour stream, and you can do it in cosplay.
And you can play whatever you want.
So
Right.
maybe do Resident Evil 8 dressed as Lady Dimitrescu.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be sweet.
Cool. Just do it for
Actually, you
fun.
seem like you're enjoying that. Maybe do Kingdom Come Deliverance dressed as a 16th, 17th.
12-hour stream for me is going to be rough. So I will do the 12-hour stream
For
in
you?
cosplay. Yeah.
I can't play in my games when you're streaming, so it's bad for me as well.
12-hour stream in cosplay. I'll do Resi 8 and I'll do the DLC as well.
We'll do it at some point in the next.
That'll be fun.
Who
Yeah.
knows when?
Yeah,
We'll do an
work it out.
announcement.
Cool.
It'll probably be on a weekend or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that is our loser, that is our winner, and that is the end of season 2. So I hope you all enjoyed it, and you're going to come along for the next one. Season 3 is literally going to start again next month. We're not taking a break. It's just going to move on to it, and we'll be
It's gonna keep
starting,
going.
and we'll be just doing it as we normally do. It's just we need an end point for the seasons to be able to get a winner and a loser. So season 3, no changes, stay as they are. We'll take on changes if you've got ideas. But before we move into season 3, we need to know what game category
We're going to
will
start with.
kick off our 3rd season.
Yeah.
Ooh, exciting.
So
It is exciting. I've missed playing a game this month for
Yeah.
I'm
for the
excited.
podcast. So
our first category is a nice big one.
fish,
In that the games are going to be big. It's not fish. I can hear you. It's not fish. They're going to be big games.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to put a lot of time into them.
Okay.
Because this style of game is typically quite large.
Oh.
It's a nice open category, though. Our category to start off season 3 is turn-based.
Ooh.
turn-based games.
Yep.
Lovely stuff. That's interesting.
So that can be quite a wide section of things.
Yeah.
Because you could play board game games, because you take turns in a board game.
Yep.
You can play anything which the combat is turn-based. You can play something like a Fire Emblem, where
Yeah.
you take turns in combat. You have combat rounds, which
Yeah.
are called turns.
Or it could be classic turn-based.
Or it could be racing, because the tracks have turns in them.
Please don't.
Oh my god.
You can do whatever.
Or it could be about tiny little birds found in the grass.
I could make
Turn-based
Josh
games.
play Just Dance because there's 2.
There's turns. You turn around. That's one of the
Nope.
moves. Yep.
We don't have any console to do all that. I can't remember who's playing for what, but we'll work that out
We'll
after
work
it.
out, yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to say a big thank you to everyone for coming along to this. It means a lot. Do make sure if you do follow any of this podcast, where you're getting it, just give us a review if you have a chance, because that always helps us. Give us a like, tell other people to listen to it if you actually enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, don't tell them to listen to it. Just let us know what you don't like, and we can try and fix it, because that's what we want to do. So
Tell us who said it.
yes, and then we can find you. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming along.
And make the Kingdom come.
We really appreciate it. And we'll catch you all next time. But before you go, make sure to check out all our socials at Discount Pod on Instagram, at Discount Darren, Discount Karis, Discount Josh. That's all our personal ones. Check us out on Twitch. We stream 3 times a week. 3 times a week on Mondays and Fridays. Our legacy games, which will be through. Someone's doing Kingdom Hearts, which is Darren.
Yeah.
Someone's doing the Soulsborne series, which is me, and someone's doing the Resi series, which is Karis. And then on Wednesdays we play our Vault and episode games.
There you go.
Obviously, the coming month is going to be a bit more difficult. We're going to be just doing all legacy games for September. So just come along, check those ones out. And check us out on YouTube at Discount Pod as well, where we have all that information. And you can get us on any place you subscribe to podcasts.
Yeah.
So yeah, really appreciate you guys coming here. Thank you for being our player 4. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.